Hi teachers. Okay, so I had a teacher ask me about these introductory folders, and so I want to show you a little bit and make a recommendation. I'll also show you how I assign assignments and some things you can tell your kids. So whenever you are introducing your kids to Achieve, it's good for them to understand where things are located. So what I do is I would open up this course and they're going to land on this home page. And I would actually just take them through a folder. So I personally ignore these. There are some nice links to applets in here, but it's just sometimes that you would use them. These three I do not use. You feel free to use them if you want, but there's just a little bit of an issue. So the teacher asked me about under getting started here, and then it says start here first. So of course they started here first, and they're having their students do this get to know you activity. And in the get to know you activity, it's just kind of talking through some of the things, but this is generic. So whenever your kids, if you have your kids complete this, it's going to have them read about the course. Also, if you have like things locked down, like this link right here is active and it takes them to this, but what, I don't think kids are going to really want to sit here and read this stuff. It's just easier to show them things. Also, if your school doesn't allow them to navigate to different things, then they wouldn't even be able to open it anyways. And then some of the questions say chapter 2, but we have units now. And so I personally would not bother with any of these things, even as an introduction. What I would recommend as an introduction is telling your kids, go ahead and open Achieve, go to the main home page. Let's look at Unit 1, Part 1. And actually, you probably want to do this in student view too. So let's go ahead and do that. So I'd say, okay, go ahead to Unit 1, Part 1. Look, there's a link to your ebook. So right here, students, you can click and you will go to the very beginning of Unit 1, Part 1, maybe demonstrate this for them. And then say, okay, well, decide how you want to assign your assignments. If you want to just do things verbally, then you would say, okay, so then I will tell you, or whatever your lesson handout we complete for that day, I want you to go to that section and I want you to complete the check your understanding and the recommended assignment. And you can just point to those two things, maybe even open it up and demonstrate to the students what they're going to see, maybe show them a little bit, but they're going to get very used to this very quickly. Maybe talk about the grading policy. So this 5% partial credit means that if they submit and get nothing right, they'll lose 5%. If they get half of this right, they'll only lose 2.5. If they get 75% of this right, they'll only lose 1.25. And as they continue to try, the deduction is smaller and smaller as they get more and more of it right. But there is a penalty, so they are going to want to do their best as they work on questions. So maybe go through, do a little demonstration, show them the side panel over here, show them where they can access the ebook over here, and show them how they can navigate the ebook, they can highlight the ebook, the links are clickable. So there's lots of things to demonstrate, but I would personally spend only maybe like 5 or 10 minutes and go over where those things are. Now, if you want to actually put due dates on things, now I'm going to go back to instructor view, there's benefits to that. So let's suppose that you want to actually assign this check your understanding and the recommended assignment. So you can click on this and we want to really have it show up on their calendar, not just tell them verbally, like have it available, but actually assign it. I'm going to go ahead and put this for the 28th, due by midnight. I often would have the assignments due not just that day, but I would kind of have them due like at the end of the unit or maybe the end of a week, something like that, to give a little bit of flexibility. You can decide all these things down here. I always like to check that the grading policy is this partial credit because that's a motivating factor. And then I'm going to click save. And then I'm going to do that. So now we've got August 28th. I'm going to go ahead and do the same thing for the assignment. Let's have it be due August 28th. I always do 100 points because it's just easy to scale, whether you want this to count as actual points or like maybe half or 10% or whatever. So now that you do that, then if you set these dates, then you can tell your kids, all right, well, you can view the assignments in a couple of different ways. You can just navigate there and I'll verbally tell you what to do. Or if they go to assignments, this tab right here, it's going to tell them what's coming up and when. So that's the benefit of putting a due date on it, is it's going to basically put it on this. And it'll also put it on their calendar. So if they prefer to look at it this way, then they can see, oh, these are due by this date. So, if they're working on it this week, I got to get it done. Make sure I'm done by Friday. So those are that's a benefit to adding the due date to it. But when it comes to teaching your kids about Achieve, I would just spend a few minutes showing them about what is inside the folders, how the folders are organized, and I would show them the ebook, and then show them, if you're going to put due dates on there, show them the different views so that they can stay on top of their assignments. I think it'll also give them a reminder if it's within within the 2 weeks time frame. I think it might even pop a reminder up in front of them that something is coming up due soon. So that's my recommendation in terms of orienting your students to the course. I would not go into detail on these things. Just not my style. Maybe it's yours. If there's something in here you really like and you think I should consider, let me know. All right. I hope that's helpful. Bye-bye.